everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome, and welcome back to another episode of Stats, Trends, and Picks over here on That's Comical. And if you happen to be watching and it's a Wednesday, Happy New Comic Book Day. Well, before we get into all of the comic book news and what's been going on with me and my collection, I'm sure that most of you, even though you are a small audience at the moment, have noticed that there really hasn't been much content coming up on the channel, and I just want to let you guys know that we all, the entire team, have been having a lot of life matters, very important matters, hitting us all at the same time. So I'm just letting you guys know, please be patient. There will be more content on the way. None of us, this is none of our day jobs. We don't do this for a living. We all have jobs. We all have families. But there will be new videos on the way. You just need to be patient, and I promise you good things come to those who wait. But it's definitely been a very interesting start to 2026. We've been seeing a lot of very interesting things taking place, and I'm going to talk about those scattered throughout the entirety of this video. But I personally am really curious to see how things are going to go before we wrap up the first quarter of 2026, because when we take a look at the numbers, for February, as I did mention, my numbers were going to be going down because I was planning for a lot of changes to come my way in terms of reading. I wanted to really focus on quality and not quantity, and one of the few things that I am definitely going to say is that we are now officially heading to the close of DC/KO and the Ultimate Universe over at Marvel. And I have to be honest that both of these series, these events, have really not been as good as I wanted them to be. And I am not really sure what is going to come in the first week of March with the final issue. But what I can say is that I really invested. I went all in when DC started its All-In initiative. And I went all in on all the tie-ins. And it's been fun, but I have just seen the whole DC/KO event get worse and worse and worse. I don't knock Scott Snyder or Josh Williamson or Mark Waid. I mean, it was great to see Mark Waid back on The Flash for just a little while in the Flash tie-in, but I've just not been thrilled with what DC/KO has given me and what the Ultimate Universe is wrapping up at the moment. I think that Ultimate Endgame is a massive bore fest. And the only thing that is pretty much keeping Marvel alive for me is Philip Kennedy Johnson's Infernal Hulk. I've been loving that book. And we do have DC The Next Level coming. And yes, I am excited for a few of the titles just because of the creative teams that are attached to these books. And there are some other big things that were announced, like the Ice Cream Man team will be doing a 6-issue DC Next Level miniseries of the Dead Man. That's another character that I don't know too much about, but I want to see W. Maxwell Prince and crew do something cool, because they already did something cool with Superman the Kryptonite Spectrum. So to see them coming back to DC so quickly is a very interesting thing. So let's look at those numbers. We had Marvel Comics with 6 books. We had DC with 15 books. Image stayed constant with 14, but we had a little bit of a dip in regards to the other conglomerate, and that was just due to a couple of titles getting pushed. But oh my goodness, while I'm definitely going to see a major decrease with my DC books and my Marvel books, there is going to be a massive jump in regards to the indie books, because some big announcements were dropped at the Comics Pro convention just 2 weeks ago. One of the bigger announcements that came out was the official guidebook of Ghost Machine. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries, and it's going to be going through all the characters in the Ghost Machine universe. But the big announcement was the fact that there's going to be a whole bunch of characters that you do not know yet. And that was due to a little advertising campaign that was happening about the Unbelievables. The question was, who are the Unbelievables? And it's been revealed that it is going to be the new name of the Family Odysseys books in the Ghost Machine universe that are headlined by Peter Tomasi. And Peter Tomasi and Jeff Johns have announced a whole new bunch of titles to go along with the Rockefellers and Hornsby and Halo. And of course, I am going to get in on every single one of them, along with the fact that this is going to be the very first time that the Ghost Machine universe gets its first tie-in crossover event. Hornsby and Halo and the Rockefellers are going to tie together to introduce the $1 Trillion Kid, and thus we're going to get an understanding of who are the Unbelievables. But oh man, am I excited. And then on the Energon Universe side, I knew it was going to happen. Everybody and their mother and their cousin twice removed knew it was going to happen, but the announcement of the brand new title coming to the Energon Universe this summer, it is going to be M.A.S.K. The amazing cartoon from the 1980s is getting its comic book series as it deserves because it's been dropping little hints of it becoming a comic book in the current Energon Universe titles, and they announced that Dan Waters and Pipar are going to be the team that puts this book together. Dan Waters already did a great job with the Destro miniseries, and I'm really excited to see what he does for M.A.S.K. But the other thing is, they also announced that this is the start of the Energon Universe Phase 2. So my question is, who else is coming? I have no idea. But let's just say that I am very, very excited. So let's take a look at those percentages. Over 30% for DC and Image Comics, over 20% for the other conglomerate, and 13% for the Marvel books. No surprise there. And then when we take a look at the graph, it's not dynamic yet, but I'm just going to let everybody know that I've already started doing some previews of March's numbers. Things are going to get shaken up. I'm telling you, they're going to get shaken up, and they're going to get shaken up big. So, how did we do in regards to my predictions for the month of February? Well, unfortunately, not so great. 1 out of 4, and that was due to one title getting pushed, and the other ones just not being as good as I thought they were. So let's get into the first week of February 2026, because it was the only time I got it correct, and it was over at Image Comics' Brett Bean's Dork, #1. And things happened with this book, which is what made February such an exciting month. It was the fact that all of a sudden the hype was real, speculation was high, and this, along with another title 2 weeks later called White Sky, shot up in value. I don't know why they shot up in value. All I know is that Dork interested me the most, and White Sky did not. And I'm just so thrilled that I managed to get myself a copy of Dork #1's A cover, because apparently this book is now going for $100 or more. But I also wanted to make sure that I checked with the guy who runs my comic book store and said, please make sure that Dork is on my pull list, because I loved this first issue, and I don't want to miss a single issue with the rest of this story for how long it goes or until I officially am no longer interested. This book was fun. It made me laugh. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that I beat the hype and got myself a copy. For the second week of February 2026, I was anticipating giving it to a very special Thundercats book, Thundercats Lost in Time, over at Dynamite, because it's going to lead into the big Thundercats Silverhawks crossover, but the book got pushed, and I think right now it's coming out on the first week of March. I hope that's the case. So it ended up going to a book that actually came out a couple of weeks prior. As a matter of fact, this book came out on the end of January, but my comic store didn't have it. They got shorted, so I had to wait a couple of weeks. And I couldn't say no to giving this book the top spot, and it's a Marvel book. It's Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein's The Infernal Hulk, issue #3. This book is really, really good. I love the original Incredible Hulk series. They already announced that the Infernal Hulk is going to end with 10 issues, and then there's going to be a 4-issue branch series that's going to lead to the last part of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk storyline called The Infernal Hulk War, and I am very excited to see where this goes. I've been loving it, and I'm just going to let everybody know, issue #4 came out the week I'm recording this video, and that was a really good book too. It was in my top 5 of the week. For the third week of February of 2026, I thought that I was going to give it to Marvel Comics and the very last issue of Ultimate Spider-Man from Jonathan Hickman and Marco Checchetto. This book was fine, but I gotta say the Ultimate Universe has been a massive disappointment for me. And will I read Reborn Ultimate Shake-Up or whatever it's called? I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to at least see where things go from Miles Morales' perspective, because I did read Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion, and I had fun with that book. But I'm also having a feeling that there's going to be a lot of hype around that 5-issue miniseries simply because of the fact that there's going to be the first appearance of a whole bunch of characters. So I'm going to check that post-epilogue-ish Ultimate book and see where it goes. But yeah, this series itself from Jonathan Hickman was okay. It had some good moments, but I wished for it to be a hell of a lot better. It is still nice to know that issue number 1 is still very much high in value, but based on where the Ultimate Universe went, I'm expecting those values to drop a lot. So the top book for that week actually ended up going to Dynamite Entertainment and actually being given to Thundercats. Declan Shalvey, the penultimate issue, issue number 24. This was a very cool issue. History of the Thundercats. Loved the way it looked, loved the way the story was told, very excited to see the final issue of Declan Shalvey and Drew Moss. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined this book to be as successful as it was, and I'm very, very happy about that, because every single issue of this book, even the dull issues, because there were a few slow points, but I loved every issue, and I'm so excited to see where this concludes, and of course, what is on the horizon. And for the final week of February of 2026, I was anticipating going over to DC Comics and giving it to the final issue of The Batman Second Night, issue number 3. And this was very good. I thought that this was a very successful miniseries. I'm wondering if there will be a third installment. And of course, if there will be, I'm just hoping that it's Jurgens, Perkins, and Spicer all over again. And I'm very curious to see what will come of the possible third installment, because the biggest surprise, and something that was such a delight to see, was a version of Superman in this world. And the fact that we haven't even gotten the Joker yet, or some other heroes. I mean, the sky is the limits with this Black Label book, and I'm really hoping for more stuff from this creative team, because I really have enjoyed this series thus far. But the winner of the final week of February 2026 went to a book that has been in my honorable mentions, even in my top pick of the week, and it was the end of the first story arc over at Image Comics, Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna, Escape, issue number 6. This was not what I expected it to be. What a great end to a first story arc. You know, I've been loving what Rick Remender has been doing mostly. Between this and The Sacrificers, I love what he is doing, and this book is no joke. It is in my top 5 of 2026, of course, even though it came out last year. It came out at the end of the year, so the end of the first story arc happened in 2026, so yeah. I am anticipating this book to keep going strong, because The Sacrificers is still going strong, even though it's ending in just a couple of months. But issue number 7 of Escape is coming soon, and I am very excited to continue this story. So that was February of 2026. What is in store for us in March? Well, there is a lot in store for us in March, and let's just say that I am very excited to see what's happening. But there are certain things that I know are going to be correct. And if they aren't, I will be extremely surprised. For the first week of March of 2026, I am so glad to say that we are going back over to Mad Cave Studios, because David Pepose and Davide Tinto are coming back to us with the second arc of Speed Racer with issue number 6. I loved the first arc. It was my favorite title of 2025, and I am so excited to come back to this world and see what David Pepose has in store for us with Speed Racer. For the second week of March of 2026, I am going back over to Image Comics, and you knew it was going to go back to Brett Bean's Dork with issue number 2. I had such a blast with the first issue, and I cannot wait to continue this series. I am just anticipating just the same amount, if not more fun, than I had with issue number 1. For the third week of March of 2026, it's going to be an interesting week. There are 2 really good books coming out this week. There is one of the few DC All-In titles that I will be investing in. We've got Lobo coming. I've never read a Lobo comic book, but Scotty Young and Jorge Corona are the creative team. I've got to see what these guys do, because they are an amazing duo. Next to Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn, they're another one of my favorite dynamic duos when it comes to comic book writing, so I am dying to see this. But at the same time, we also have the one-shot from Ed Bryson, the Thundercats Silverhawks Road to War, issue number 1, over at Dynamite, which of course is going to lead into the 15-part story arc of the Thundercats Silverhawks crossover. So I'm dying to see where this goes, and it's been a while since the Silverhawks have been in comics, since the last series that Ed Bryson actually wrote. But those are not my top picks. And it's going to be over at Image Comics, and it's going to be part of the Energon universe. It's G.I. Joe, issue number 20 from Josh Williamson, only because of the fact that the big meeting is about to happen. Duke is about to come face to face with the leader of the Autobots, Optimus Prime. Dying to see what is going to happen in this book. Again, G.I. Joe, I get so excited whenever a new G.I. Joe issue comes out, and this is no different. And then we've got the final week of March of 2026. Again, some very big books are coming out that week. We have, over at DC Comics, the iconic landmark 600th issue of Green Lantern. Of course, Jeremy Adams is going to be writing that with a couple of other big creative stand-ins, and the truth of the matter is this may be the last Green Lantern book that I am going to be reading. I wish that I could be finishing Jeremy Adams' run, but considering the fact that I already dropped Green Lantern Corps, and I did in fact drop Aquaman after DCKO, I have a feeling based on what I've been reading in the last couple of issues that this may be the end for my Green Lantern run, but I'm really hoping that Jeremy Adams has a very successful conclusion, even though Kyle Rayner is going to be taking the driver's seat in this book. Who knows, maybe I'll come back to it soon, but for now, I think this is going to be my last Green Lantern book. The other big announcement is another DC book, and it's the first of 2 DC Marvel crossovers, but this is the DC one. We've got Superman Spider-Man, issue number 1. Of course, we were celebrating the anniversary of the original crossover that took place back in the late 70s, so we've got them coming back together again with a whole all-star cast of writers and artists, and as much as I wanted to love Batman and Deadpool a lot, they were okay, both of those books, but I don't know why I have a better feeling about this specific crossover. But those are not my tops. My top predicted pick for that week is going to be back over at Image Comics. It's going to be from Tony Fleecs and Trish Forstner, the newest issue of Feral, issue number 21, a brand new arc, Silent Interlude, and there was a big announcement about this specific issue that has gotten me so excited. I'm also having a feeling, based on the cover, this is going to be an issue from Ghost's perspective, so very excited for Feral to continue because this story has just been wonderful. I have a feeling we're reaching the end, though, based on where we left off, but either way, cannot wait for this book, especially because of the big special announcement that was made for this book, and all they said was, if you're a Stray Dogs fan, you're going to be very satisfied. So those were my stats, trends, and picks from February of 2026. I would love for you to leave a comment in the box below. Let me know how your February 2026 went. Let me know if there was anything that I might have missed. What are you looking forward to in March? What are you picking up? What were some of the announcements that were told at Comics Pro that you're excited about? Are you excited about Next Level? Did you not miss Dork? Are you excited for Speed Racer to come back? Are you reading Ghost Machine? Are you reading Are you reading Energon? Please let me know what you're reading. I want to have a conversation. And in the meantime, everybody, I will see you in the next one.